Good morning, everyone. Greetings of the day and welcome you all to Bangla Shikha Classroom 2024, an endeavor of Paschim Bongo Samogra Shikha Mission under the Department of Education, Government of West Bengal. I am Gargi Mukherjee, Headmistress Palia Nafur Chandra Balika Vidyalaya, and today we will discuss a prose piece from your class 10 syllabus, The Passing Away of Bapu. So, please turn to page 16 of your textbook, please, and let us go straight to our lesson. At the very beginning, we come across a person and a name, that is Bapu. We all know the person who is in the picture. He is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, born in 2nd October 1869, and he demised or assassinated on 30th January 1948. So, do you know who gave him this name of Bapu? Maybe many of you don't know, but this name was conferred to him by Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on July 6th, 1944, on the demise of his beloved wife Kasturba Gandhi. So now let us go to the text, and the name of the author is Nayandara Sehgal. Nayandara Sehgal, as you can see on the screen, is still alive. She lives in Dehradun right now, and she comes of a very famed Indian family. She was born to Vijay Lakshmi Pandit and Pandit Sitaram Pandit, and she was the niece of our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. She is a very well acclaimed person, and she wrote a number of books in her lifetime, which includes Prison and Chocolate Cake, From Fear Set Free, A Time to Be Happy, etc. She also won Sahitya Academy Award for her novel Rich Like Us in 1986. The present extract is taken from her memoir Prison and the Chocolate Cake. Do you know what memoir is? The word memoir comes from the French word mémoire, which means memory. It is a piece of writing which is given by the author who writes from his or her own memory. There may be some imagination indulged into it. Moreover, it is a bit different from biography or autobiography. Some of Sehgal's noted memoirs are Prison and Chocolate Cake and From Fear Set Free. A piece of discussion which you can find in page 16, and the first few lines I am reading from the text. I was having tea at home on the evening of 30th January 1948 when I was called to Birla House by an urgent telephone. Gandhiji had been shot on his way to a prayer meeting. I was numb with shock as I got into the car. So, our story begins with the tragic news of the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi. The place you can see on the screen is now Gandhi Street. At that time, it was called the Birla House. It was the place where Gandhiji was assassinated by a person called Nathuram Godse on 30th January 1948. He was 78 during that time. But you know, this incident was not only a death of a certain person or a certain politician or a certain leader. This incident had left a profound effect on all the people who were closely associated with it. The Nehru family, the Gandhi family, and all the other close associates of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, they were all very much shocked, and not only these families, the entire nation was under a very sad spell. And it is clearly written in the introduction of your own textbook that this is not only the author's personal sense of loss, but also the collective grief of the entire nation at the passing away of Mahatma Gandhi. It was there at the Birla house where men were uh, accumulating, they were gathering, and there were entire silence as they witnessed how Gandhiji breathed his last. And the news of this tragic incident spread through Delhi, and not only to Delhi, to the entire country, like a flame which was fanned by wind. And slowly, thousands of men, women, and children began to gather around the house. And the primary sense of disbelief soon turned into agonized howls of cry. Even a stampede followed. Author Nayantara Sehgal, she was only a young woman of 21 during that time. She, and along with all the other young people, they were feeling like lost children. They were unable to think with clarity. And what was being plunged them like a plague was that they were very much uncertain what their future plan of action would be. And the truth slowly dawned upon them all that the beacon of light that was guiding them, that is the person Bapu, he is no more. This is all about the Unit 1, which you find in page 16 and 17 of your textbook. And the people, they were so shocked that they could not even move. Now we come to Unit 2, which is about the funeral procession. Gandhiji's funeral was to take place the day after his death. And people lined the place well in advance to see the procession being taken. And they all followed this procession in bitter sadness. He was laid on an open truck covered with flowers, and all his followers, all the people who loved him and thought him to be their beacon, to be their light, to be their leader, they all walked alongside the truck. And the author slowly realized upon her the power of walking and the lessons Gandhiji imparted to all of them. And what was his lessons? These are the lessons. We don't only read the book. We want to know. We want to read about what Bapuji had to say. What lessons did he give throughout his life? What were they? To walk is to make slow progress, to think with clarity, and closely look at all that is around you. To walk is often the only option for an average Indian, as it required no money, no vehicle, except his own physical strength. Thus, Bapu's light figure had walked, staff in hand, over a large part of India, and thousands of other Indians followed him. This is all about Unit 2. I'll read some part of Unit 2, which would help you to understand what Gandhiji had to say. Gandhiji took this necessity as it took much that was commonplace and transformed it into a joyful effort. This physical exercise of walking, he transformed it into a joyful effort, an effort of making India independent. Now we come to Unit 3, which is the post-funeral rites. We come to page 21, where it says that it was only some days after the funeral when a special train took Gandhiji's ashes to Allahabad. It was near Triveni, where Gandhiji's ashes were immersed into the sacred Ganges. The compartment of the train were decked with flowers. People on the train, they sang bhajans. They did not weep anymore, for they could feel Gandhiji's presence amidst themselves. At every station, sorrowful crowds filled the platform. You can see on the screen, this was the train that was carrying the last remains of Gandhiji to the sacred Ganges. And thousands of people waited for the train at every station. Amid song and prayer, the train reached Allahabad. The ashes were immersed in the Ganges, where a huge crowd had gathered at the bank. This is also, you can see on the screen. And afterwards, we all went back to Delhi. So this was the facts that had happened. And after this, we will discuss, but we will see what the author and all the people, young people who were like her, how they felt. Nayantara is telling that back in Delhi, I felt at sea. What is the word felt at sea means? Means she was feeling at a loss. At an utter loss when nobody knows what to do, what to say, how to act. Though she had not herself walked with Gandhiji directly or gone to prison or made any other sacrifice for her country. Her two sisters and she herself, they were all the other people like them. They were merely onlookers. They looked at him, they admired him. But now, this was dawning on her that it is a time for people like her to act. They could not sit still. They were the flag bearers. Bapu had passed away. But she asked herself again and again that had Bapu lived and died for nothing? What was that if he did not live any longer? Their values were not so weak. Millions of people would have been just ordinary folk, but for Bapu, Bapu had made them all special. He brought them out of indifference and awakened them to each other's suffering. What if now Bapu has gone? We are still there, young, strong, and proud to bear the banner before us. Bapu had passed away, but his India will continue to live in his children. Who are his children? His children are not only Nayantara Sehgal or her sisters or the other young people who lived during that time. We are all his children, and it is on to us to be and continue to be the flag bearers of our beloved Bapu. So this is about the text. The text, Unit 3, ends on page number 23. I hope you have understood the text, and now we will pass on to some question answers from this text. As you well know that this lesson, the passing away of Bapu, is a very important piece for your Madhyamik examination. I do hope that you will be serious enough to practice the questions given to you on the screen and also all the others that are given to you at the very end of every unit of the textbook. Here are just some sample questions for practice for the Madhyamik examination. The questions usually are MCQ type and the short answer types. And under this MCQ type questions, you find this choose the correct alternative type questions. Some sample questions are given on the screen. You can write them down or take a screenshot. You have to write the answers and show you to your subject teacher in your school. You can practice them at your leisure time. Author was called by an urgent telephone to where? We all know the name of the place is Birla House. Gandhiji breathed his last on. Try to find the answer by going through the text again. And at the time Sehgal received the tragic news, what was she doing? She was having breakfast, or she was having tea, or she was playing cards or listening to a radio. Go through the text and you'll surely find the answer. Now we come some true-false type questions. And with this true-false type questions, you have to also write the supporting statement. Now, what is the supporting statement? Supporting statements are some sentences or phrases or parts of sentence from the textbook which will support your answer. Make note that these questions usually they carry 2 marks. One for true or false and another for the supporting statement. Make a note that if you are right in deciphering whether it's true or false, you get 1 marks, and if you are wrong in providing the supporting statement, you get no marks, that is you get only half marks, that is 1. But if you get true false wrong and the supporting statement right by any chance, you are not getting any marks. So the main thing is deciphering whether the sentence is true or false. Gandhiji's funeral took place a few days after his death. Supporting statement. Padmasi was Sarojini Naidu's daughter. Again, supporting sentence. Took walk was to make a quick progress. Again, you have to write the true or false or then the supporting statement. Then we come across the short answer type questions. Where was the urn of ashes taken to by train? Where were the ashes immersed? I felt at sea. What does the author mean by these words? I have discussed these answers while discussing through the portion. And here are also some word meanings. Find words from the passage which mean walking stick, demanding loudly, and pushing one's way through a crowd. Now let us make a quick revision of the whole text. As you are all well aware that this story or memoir was written by Nayanthara Sehgal, and Nayanthara Sehgal, she was a member of the famous Nehru Gandhi family, and she was born to Vijay Lakshmi Pandit and Pandit Sitaram Pandit. Nayanthara Sehgal's mother, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, was also a very famed politician during her time and had been on occasions being ambassador of India to different other foreign countries after the independence. And we again come to the word memoir, a very quick revision. A memoir is a notified or non-fiction narrative that focuses on a specific period in a person's life and is based on their personal memories. There can be facts, but also there can be figments of imagination added to it. They are different from autobiographies. Autobiographies are what? Those are the historical record of the writer's life. They are based on the writer's memory of certain time, place or person. And Sehgal was famous for some of very noted memoirs during her literary career. They were The Prison and the Chocolate Cake and From Fear Set Free. Our present piece, The Passing Away of Bapu, is taken from the memoir Prison and the Chocolate Cake. Bapu's assassination is where the piece of our discussion starts. Nayanthara Sehgal was at her home and she was having tea when she was called to Birla House on the sad news of the Gandhiji's assassination by a certain person whose name was Nathuram Godse. The shock that prevailed throughout the country was something that our writer wanted to convey. It was not only a personal loss, it was the loss of the whole country. The death of Gandhi spread like a rapid fire throughout the state and then throughout the whole country. People gathered and shocked silence prevailed, and then they all started to cry very loudly. After the death, a few days later, Bapu was taken to the funeral procession with thousands of people following. And here the author gives us some important lessons imparted by Gandhi. Look at the screen and go through the writings. And we have discussed about this post-funeral rites, where the urn that carried the ashes of Gandhi were taken from Nagpur station to Allahabad, and the whole way people followed the train and waited for the train on every platform. At last, at Triveni Sangam, the Gandhi's ashes were immersed. This was the physical end of the great leader, but his lessons were carried by his torch bearers, the youth of the nation who called him their Bapu. That is all for today. Go through the sample questions very quickly again. Do not forget what I told you about how to write the answers. And thank you very much for being with me. Good day.